Welcome to another lecture by MedicoMedics, Microbiology and Infectious Diseases, Chapter 12, Epidemiology and Public Health, Microbiology, Tracking and Preventing Disease. In this lecture, we will cover the topic of epidemiology, discuss some key concepts, chain of infection, types of disease transmission, concepts like outbreak investigation, vaccination and herd immunity, some global challenges, and end with a summary. Now, epidemiology is the study of how diseases spread, who they affect, and how to control them. The objectives include identifying cause and risk factors for diseases, track outbreaks and their patterns, and develop strategies for prevention and control. So epidemiology is like being a detective for public health. Now, some key terms include incidence. This is new cases of a disease in a population over a specific time. Prevalence, total cases of a disease in a population at a given time. Endemic, it's a disease regularly found in a certain area. For example, malaria in parts of Africa. Epidemic, a sudden increase in cases in a specific area. And then pandemic, a global outbreak, like the recent COVID-19. Now, let's talk about the chain of infection. And what are some components here? Well, we have the infectious agent, like a bacteria or a virus. Reservoir, where the microbe lives, so for example in humans or in animals. Portal of exit, so how it leaves, like coughing or blood. Mode of transmission, like air, water, or vectors. Portal of entry, so how it enters via the skin or mucous membranes. Susceptible host, for example unvaccinated individuals. And the idea is to break this chain will prevent diseases. So think of the chain of infection as a sequence. If we can break one of these links, it would be a potential way to stop the disease from spreading. For example, if we're dealing with an airborne transmission, then we can wear a mask. Now, types of disease transmission. So we have direct transmission. This is person to person, like touching or sneezing. Indirect transmission, so contaminated objects like doorknobs, or food or water like cholera. Vectors like mosquitoes spreading malaria. Some tools for epidemiological studies include descriptive studies, so describing patterns, who, where, when. Analytical studies, investigating causes and risk factors, like case control studies. Interventional studies, so test preventive measures, like vaccine trials. The role of public health in microbiology. So functions. Identifying pathogens causing outbreaks, tracking antimicrobial resistance trends, develop vaccines and public health strategies. During an outbreak, how do we investigate? So we have the following steps to adhere to. First, confirm the outbreak. Then identify the pathogen and the source. Third, implement control measures like quarantine or vaccination, etc. And of course, communicate findings to the public. Now, vaccination and herd immunity. So vaccination, the idea is to protect individuals by triggering immune responses. The idea here is we use either a killed part of the virus or the pathogen, or an inactive part of it, enough to stimulate the person's immune system to start developing antibodies, meaning for the person to get stimulated enough to start producing cells, immune cells. So in the future, if this pathogen presents itself, we already have a large, vast group of immune cells ready to attack it. This is the idea. So herd immunity protects communities by reducing overall spread of disease when enough people get vaccinated. And this is clinically relevant because it's critical for eradicating diseases like, for example, smallpox. So vaccines protect individuals and communities. Herd immunity, specifically, works like a firewall which blocks diseases from spreading when enough people are immune. Some global challenges in infectious disease control, emerging and re-emerging diseases, so zoonotic diseases like Ebola, SARS-CoV-2, drug resistance pathogens like MRSA. Barriers include poor healthcare infrastructure, vaccine hesitancy, climate change expanding vector habitats. So, for example, mosquitoes spreading more throughout the world, carrying malaria is an example of that. So, in summary, then, epidemiology helps us understand and control disease patterns. Collaboration and prevention are key to stopping outbreaks. And that's the end of the lecture. Please continue now to chapter 13.